Welcome to the Cup of Joe Show, the podcast where Senator Joseph Cryan talks about the latest in New Jersey's 20th Legislative District. This week's guest, President of New Jersey Hall of Fame, Steve Edwards.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to another Cup of Joe. Very, very thrilled and honored today to be able to talk to somebody who's a proud Union native, a real source of pride for our community. Somebody I get to introduce today as a business executive, a very successful business executive. He is also the New Jersey Hall of Fame president and has some interesting tales to tell about that as well. He's a world champion athlete that not a lot of folks know about, and I really want to take a few minutes today.
Did my mother write this script?
Mom, and by the way, if she did, I would follow it word for word.
Smart man.
And also, by the way, a great documentary filmmaker, and we're going to talk about an upcoming event here in September as well. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my real pleasure to introduce to you Steve Edwards.
It's a real pleasure and a real honor, and I want to say Mutual Admiration Society, you really do deserve, and your team, an enormous amount of credit for what you've done here in Union, and we're going to talk about it. Union is in my heart. It's my first memories of life, but I know how much work it takes to make a community like this go around, any community, and you are like me. You believe in something, grind it out. One day at a time, just grind it out. You don't need the accolades, just do it because it's in your heart. So thank you, Joe.
And one of the things about you, Steve, is once it's done, it's on to the next.
Exactly right, man. You got
so
that.
Let's talk about growing up in Union a little bit. All right. By the way, I need to tell you, this is a sad week as we talk about this. Gordon Lamatti passed away.
I saw that.
And
92.
one of the great, the great coaches of all time, not only in the state of New Jersey but in the country, and a real treasure of the town of Union along the way. Which just made me think of that because I wanted you to talk about you growing up in Union.
Yeah, he, by the way, I just read his obituary, and I was shocked to see he started coaching in 1959. 3 years before I was born, and I had no idea that he went back to the 50s, but he truly is a legend, and he'll be missed. The internet was lighting up about that. I was born in Beth Israel Hospital. Colonial Arms Road, 612 Colonial Arms Road was the first house they took me back to. It's the house where I was sleeping when Kennedy was assassinated. It was on the TV, behind my bedroom. It is literally my first memories of life, being on Colonial Arms Avenue and being in the backyard. And it was just an all-American type of feel, type of city. Fast forward, when we got back, my family, and we'll talk about it with the film, from Mexico, we moved in back in that house, 612, and we were there for 5 years. And about 3 months after we moved in was when I had my car accident with my mom. And it's an interesting story. I was in my backyard that day trying to figure out, I wanted to make the backyard a baseball stadium. Uh-huh. And I'm telling my friend Clark, and I'm so excited. I'm like, there's the home run fence, and there'll be first base over there. And we'll put the seats right over here on the pavement. And I got done talking to him, and I walked inside the house, and I thought, but I need tickets. I have to sell tickets for this baseball stadium. And I started to visualize going door to door selling tickets. And I get upstairs, and it was July 30th, 1971. And my mom said, does anyone want to go with me to Daffy Dan's clothing store in Elizabeth? And I thought, that's for chicks. I'm not going to do that. No. And then I thought, wait a minute. That's where the woman shoppers, when they would take an article of clothing, they would throw the ticket that was on the clothing for whatever reason. I'm not sure what the logic was, but they'd throw it on the floor. So there was always a floor full of these tickets. And I thought, I can get my tickets from my baseball stadium. Hopped into a car, and my mom and I made 2 lefts and then a right. And then right in front of Kane College, we went straight on with a Budweiser beer Mack truck. My mom's head hit the steering wheel. I went through the windshield and back, 300 stitches, broken jaw, all my teeth knocked out, ears hanging, 3 blood transfusions and last rites. And obviously I survived. But I tell this story because Union became even more special to me after that car accident, because it was the community that really lifted me up. What I mean by that is, there was always people that would taunt me, Scarface, this or that, but most everybody I met in Union, Steve, he could bunt real well, come on the baseball team. And, I was just accepted like everybody else, and it really helped my self-esteem.
So you had that sense of community support.
I had a sense of community and support. And I will tell you, I just thought about this the other day, knowing I was going to come on. I think certainly one of the best memories of my life was a day not too long, maybe 72 or 73, over on Colonial Arms Road. It was a long summer day. I just got done playing stickball behind the factories on Lehigh Avenue.
Sure.
By the railroad track. And I came back, there was a green Mr. Ice, it was Mr. Softy or some sort of ice cream truck.
Softy.
Yeah. And I got some vanilla ice cream, and I heard in the window of my grandparents' house where we lived, My Three Sons was on. And I ran in. I was thinking as I'm doing it, this is a great life, And I had just been through a windshield. Went up, I watched My Three Sons. At the end, we had sprinklers in our backyard. Forget about pools. The sprinkler is one of the most underestimated, source of fun. And we ran through the sprinkler, and it ended with me trying to catch my sister's fireflies. What were they called? Ladybugs? And
Ladybugs.
Put it in a can, and you put the holes in the top. That's an all-American day, and here in an all-American city. And the interesting thing is, it doesn't cost a lot of money to do any of those things, and I'll always remember that day.
I'm glad you do, and those are the kind of things, and obviously this community still stands by people. And as you talk about that, though, were there particular folks that shaped you early on?
I had my dad, of course, which we'll get into with the film, was a great inspiration for me. I think my imagination got me through that tough time. It's gotten me through a lot of other tough times. Just being lost in my head, imagining who I could become and looking for heroes all around me. And there were heroes in Union, to be sure, but there were also heroes on TV, whether it was Frank Sinatra, Johnny Carson, or baseball players. I wanted to be a New York Yankee like a lot of other kids. So, in school, I found a lot of great, educators from Kawami. Mr. Dow, you wouldn't remember Mr. Dow. He was a gym teacher who tragically passed away in a plane accident. He was on his way to a golf trip. Mr. Dow was one of those teachers that he just believed in me, Edwards, I saw you do a few push-ups. I want to see you do 20. Let's go. And then he'd not clap, but he would praise me. And there's a lot of stories. It's very tragic, but another inspiring figure for me at Kwame was Mr. M. It's been so many years, I'm forgetting. It's an Irish name. He passed away, too, in a tragic accident. But he was a guy, whenever he'd see me in the hallways, Steve, how you doing? You look good. And so we've got so many stories of educators and other community leaders that have done that over the years, and you're one of them. You were my baseball coach for my brother, by the way. He'll never forget that.
I remember Michael played well.
Yeah.
So you growing up here and part of the family, so you have a community influence. You've been through the most difficult tragedy, right, with the accident, and you have a community support. You have a great educational foundation, teachers lifting you up. And that puts you on a path to success. And I want to kind of transition the conversation a little bit to your business career.
Yeah.
Because it's folks don't know, but part of what Steve does is so important to not just the Township of Union, but to others in a very competitive field. You provide these days the most competitive rates around with the quality that's needed. But talk about your business career. Let me transition you over to that.
I want to talk about my business career. I always feel like I got to talk about my regret early on in life. When I didn't do great in college. Long story, I just was one of those party guys, and the bottom line is I got out of college and I got nervous about what am I going to do. I always wanted to be successful. I wanted to make money, have a beautiful home. And I went into commercial real estate initially. And I did it for the wrong reason. I did it for money. And that is not a good reason to do anything, okay? And I spent a number of years doing that, and I made okay money. Went to work for President Clinton in Washington in '93. When I came back from Washington is when I said, okay, I got the rest of my life in front of me. And that's when I went into the commercial insurance business for municipalities and school boards. And it was different than commercial real estate because I wanted to be at the events. I wanted to meet people. It was all about network, and I loved building my network up. And then, we were providing health insurance for municipal employees, and we knew how important that was to provide health insurance to firemen and police officers and municipal officials and educators and so forth on the school board side, and then property casualty as well. If you have a claim, and in today's day and age, we saw with the floods last week, you could have a claim in 1 hour's time, and it could be the type of claim that could break you, if it's in the tens of millions of dollars. So we provide coverage for that, and it feels good, and we've built up a nice business. We're one of the top public entity insurance firms in New Jersey, and one of the top insurance intermediaries in the United States. So I've had a good career, and I've got a tremendous team around me, like you have around you, and that's made all the difference in the world.
Now, it's not just taking my word for it or for the many, many folks that you've helped on that. I believe you've been recognized as one of the most influential New Jerseyans by New Jersey Business Magazine, and I think in your insurance work, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been noted as one of the top 50 insurance intermediaries in the entire country. Is that correct?
That's right, and that's a testament to tribute to my team, because you talk about grinding it out. Insurance is not necessarily the most exciting thing on any given day, but our folks are so passionate about what they do that it makes it exciting.
What kind of lessons have you learned from being in the field and the competitiveness of the field and all?
Well, I think the first lesson is it's a people business, like just about any other business. So you've got to slow down. You've got to listen. You've got to figure out what are my clients' needs. You always have to be thinking about what's in the best interest of your client. And I think that goes for any industry, any field of interest that you go into. What I've also learned is just take it one day at a time.
Really?
Break it down. The most complicated problems in the world can be solved, and you absolutely will solve them if you have a will to want to solve them. But you've got to take it one day at a time, be patient, and do the best you can, day in and day out.
That's interesting. Is that your perception of your process for leadership?
Yeah, it is. We're about to start with the Hall of Fame, a new project where we're releasing words of wisdom. They're excerpts from interviews that I did with many of the inductees for our hologram late-night television studio at the new museum, which I hope we get a chance to talk about. The first one we're releasing a week from yesterday is Judy Blume.
Okay.
Elizabeth native.
Right.
And I asked her, how do you write a book? And she started laughing. She said, well, let me tell you what you don't do. You don't try to think about the whole book, because it'll overwhelm your brain. You'll never get started. She says, I do every one of my books one scene at a time. And I think that's a great metaphor for anyone, any industry. One day at a time, one meeting at a time. Just break it down, because otherwise it really can get overwhelming.
Okay. All right, so that's a great segue, all right? Because I would say as folks know your name, they probably know you best they're going to know your name from Lucky Jack pretty soon, right?
Thank you.
But they know you now as the driving force, literally the vision, and the guy behind who just continually works and promotes the New Jersey Hall of Fame. I'm going to tell you this, just to watch your passion for the love of our state, and we've talked about it here a little bit, and not by accident, what inspires you and what does it, because you're an inspiration in terms of what you do, but the way that you focus on the state of New Jersey with the Hall of Fame, the pride that the ceremonies give. I think you've been maybe as much as 16 induction ceremonies. Is that right?
Yeah, we have our 17th coming up.
There
November.
you go. So talk. You're on the spot now, Edwards.
Yeah.
I want you to talk about what made you lead the effort on the Hall of Fame, and talk to us about it.
So our mission, I should start there, is celebrate the state. It's honor our legends, and it's inspire children and people of all ages. And I hate for this to sound like the Mutual Admiration Society, but you played a pivotal role.
Small
in
role. You
launching
have
the
driven
Hall of
it.
Fame. Well,
Yeah,
and I'll tell you why. Because when you come up with an idea, as I did back in 2002, to do something like this, most people are just, whatever. Really there was no halls of fame in the country at that point. There still is we're only one of three, actually. But I went to certain people. George Zoffinger was one of them, and you were one of them. And you need positive reinforcement early on for a project like this. And you played that pivotal role. We were at Lorenzo's in Trenton, I'll never forget, having a good steak, talking about this crazy idea I had. And you didn't waste a minute to say, I love it. Springsteen, Edison, Einstein. And I remember leaving that meeting, I got to get this done. I mean, if Joe Cryan, you were an assemblyman at the time before you were a senator, if he's believing in it and he's a no-nonsense guy, then... So anyway, the bottom line is that I'll tell you what drives me. What drives me is that we live in a world where so many people are struggling. They're on drugs, they're on alcohol, becoming alcoholics, and they're lost souls. And what I love about New Jersey Hall of Fame is we can point to so many heroes in the Hall of Fame and say, you can realize your greatness by finding a hero and finding their wisdom. And the soul of our organization, this is really what drives me, is a concept called Areté. It means the act of actualizing one's highest and best sense of self for the greater good. And it was actually a concept that Plato, Aristotle, and Socrates, ancient Greek philosophers 2,500 years ago, thought was the essence of life. It goes back to the cradle of civilization. And what's interesting about it, Senator, is that the founding generation, we're coming up on our 250th birthday in 2026, founding generation looked to Areté and concepts like it, ancient Greek philosophy, when writing the Constitution. And you can find Areté in the ideals of governance and the pursuit of the good, the greater good. So that is what drives me. It's why I'm grinding it out, because I think now more than ever, we got to go back to those basics of lifting each other. And that's
time. It's time to lift each other up and not tear each other down. Let's be candid about that. But you've lifted up, and quite a number of folks, right? I mean, the ceremonies have had to be fabulous over the years. Yogi Berra, Bruce, Bon Jovi, Buzz Aldrin, right? And a whole bunch of folks. But, one of the educational piece of the Hall of Fame and what it does to folks, and I just want to remind you of a couple things and ask you to talk about it. You've had the mobile museum here at the St. Patrick's Day Parade. The fabulous museum, and I hope you're going to talk about it, an American Dream. The Learning Center at American Dream, which is also wonderful. But as somebody who just traveled through Newark Airport last week, and the pride and just talk about it, please. It's such an accomplishment.
Yeah. It really has blossomed beyond what I ever thought it would be. The goal was always to do an annual induction ceremony and to have a museum. And naively, I thought we were going to build a museum in 5 years. That was that was very naive. It took 16 years. We had the mobile museum, though, as you pointed out, and that was like a field trip on wheels, and that went around. We had 300,000 people came on board in a 3-year period. But now we have New Jersey Hall of Fame and American Dream, at the American Dream Complex next to MetLife Stadium. It's a 10,000 square foot state-of-the-art, interactive and immersive. We call it in the industry, it's called edutainment. It's entertainment, but it's also education. And it's a remarkable place. I'm very proud of it and what our team has done. We've got the Model T, for example, that Henry Ford gifted to Thomas Edison in 1916. Can you imagine? They used to take field trips in this thing with Firestone.
The brain power.
I mean, that's one heck of a trifecta. We have a hologram karaoke stage where you can get up on the stage and you can sing karaoke with Tommy James, Moni Moni, or Wycliffe Jean, If I Were President. We've got all kinds of Frankie Valli, Can't Take My Eyes Off of You. And you can film it and share it with friends. So that's fun. A Jersey proud movie theater that would make anyone from Jersey blush and say, wow, that's amazing. And so many other components. But as you alluded to, it's more than just an entertainment center, too, entertainment and learning center. We've got compliments of Leo Schaefer and Diane Scaschetti. We've created Hard Rock Cafe exhibits up and down the Parkway.
Yes.
We've renamed all of the Parkway service areas after various Hall of Fame inductees.
Judy Bloom, local to us here, Whitney Houston.
Judy Bloom, Whitney Houston, right close by. That's been tremendous for our name recognition. I don't know if it's made us a household word, but it's certainly coming close to it. We've got think about, I don't know how we didn't do it before with all the greatness from Jersey. We got these inspirational posters that Michael Graves designed that are at Newark Airport. So think about when somebody comes into New Jersey from out of town, what's one of their first impressions in the past? It's to see the turnpike and to be in a traffic jam and see factories. Now we give them a much better first impression of New Jersey. And for people that are proud like yourself, it instills pride in people to see them. So we're also at New Jersey transit stations. A lot of our content nowadays in the digital age is on social media. You can go to YouTube and see all kinds of amazing acceptance speeches by Hall of Fame inductees. Yeah.
And I remind folks that when they have the opportunity, Steve, to watch the Hall of Fame induction ceremony, the speeches, the families, the introductions, in my opinion, it's the strongest hour of the year, depending on where you are. If you're fortunate enough to be there, it's a little longer.
Yeah.
But if you walk away inspired and realize how lucky we are to be from this great state.
And there's no shortage. We're not going to run out. But I'll tell you a real fun, cute story. The very first ceremony, which of course you were at,
yes.
I'm standing side of stage, and we had a dramatic lineup. So we had everybody out on the stage, all the inductees at the same time. The spotlight would hit. The first one was General Schwarzkopf saluting the crowd.
Yep.
Went to Toni Morrison. It went to Buzz Aldrin,
really
Yogi
awesome.
Berra. And as it's got to like Nancy Sinatra, right before Bruce, I'm standing next to Cory Booker, who at the time, I don't even think was mayor at the time, 2008. And he's like, what the hell is going on? This is unbelievable. And he didn't even say it to me. He said it to the sound guy. Are you looking at what I'm looking at here? Yeah. So it's really special. And I hope your viewers and listeners get a chance to come to one of the future ceremonies. You can find out, by the way, more on the Hall of Fame, njhalloffame.org.
njhalloffame.org. Hey, I got to switch gears only because of time, and we've got a movie to talk about, but I am not getting to the movie till we talk about you, the athlete. All right? And I know it's, we don't harp on this a lot, but you've got a strong background in martial arts.
Yeah.
Right? Second-degree black belt.
Correct.
Right? You've trained with the FBI, the Secret Service, all sorts of folks, right? National Guard. But for the moment, talk to me about the bench press team and the work that you do and all the pull-ups.
Clap and pull-ups.
Yeah, talk about it.
So I think I was always a strong kid, scrappy. I was on the Union High wrestling team back in '79 and '80. But how I got into the weightlifting is interesting. I had a herniated disc. I still have it at L4, L5. And I have a neck that goes straight up instead of curved, probably from that windshield accident.
Okay.
And I have some arthritis. And I was getting a lot of discomfort in my legs. And I went to a chiropractor, and I went to a neurologist, and I went to a orthopedic. And they all said, take medicine or slow down. I was at a gym a few months after all of that, and my trainer said, just try this high-density foam roller. It looks like a medieval weapon. It's got perforated edges. And I started to go on that, and it's like having a masseuse with you. And the weights were right there after I felt great, and I started lifting, and my trainer said, "You're real strong, you should compete." And anyway, make a long story short, I've been very blessed to be on the U.S. bench press team for the last 3 years. I've won, actually the last 4 years. I took a gold in Kazakhstan and South Africa. I took a third in Austin, and then this past year, I took a fourth in Norway. I went for the championship lift on my last one instead of going for second or third, and I finished fourth. But I just love it. I got to start all over again when I got back from Norway. It's like, okay, whatever, it's all behind me. And I think the bottom line, I'll sum it up this way, is when you think young and you do things young, you act young, you are young. And in a way, I'll be 63 in September. I feel like I'm 18 or 20 years old, but because I'm doing this. And so I highly recommend any sport that you want to pursue. And it doesn't have to stop when you're 20 or 30. You can do it the rest of your life.
Well, it's inspiring to me, your discipline, that you can stay with it, right? And I'm sure some of it goes
way of life at this point.
To Areté and those sort of things. But, I mean, it's something I think a lot of folks wish they could do, but also would start and stop. So
get to the gym for 10 minutes one day, get there for 20 minutes the next day, put a song on, play the little game, stretch out, get into it. It could take weeks, but it's to the point now I tell my daughters I'm happier on the days I have to lift weights. I get to put the 70s music back on, and
okay.
I love it. At this point, I couldn't stop even if I wanted to.
Little Bee Gees and some weight? Is that how that
what,
goes?
Say that again?
Little Bee Gees and some weight?
Yeah,
there?
exactly.
Okay. Show the moves. So I want to transition to now to a movie that I was fortunate enough to see that is so well done. And I know it's a passion of yours and how it came about. I want you to take a few minutes and tell everybody about Lucky Jack, the movie. You mentioned it earlier in this discussion about Dad. Take it away and tell folks all.
Yeah, first of all, we just won. It's a 1-hour documentary feature film. We filmed some of the reenactment scenes. There's like 100 of them in the film. Some were filmed right here in Union, including at my mom's house. And I'm very proud, by the way, I'll start at the top, that we just won Best Docudrama at the Jersey Shore Film Festival.
Wonderful.
We were just in Italy. We were at Philadelphia International, Philadelphia Documentary Film Festival. I just found out on my way here, ever so close, we were a semi-finalist for Flickr International, which is one of the top 10 film festivals in the entire United States. So we'll take the runner-up, and it meant they wanted us to be in, but had too few films to be able to show. The film is about a crazy story, and a lot of it played out here in Union. My dad was a 30-year-old high school dropout from the Newark projects.
Yep.
Always wanted to be a doctor, but failed every course his junior year of high school. And he was sort of a Walter Mitty character throughout the 50s. Failed. 1966, he's 30 years old, wife and 2 children. He smokes a joint. He puts on Man of La Mancha's Impossible Dream. Puts on a surgeon's smock that he wore when he drew blood at a local hospital years earlier. And he looks in the mirror and he says, I'm going to be a doctor, and not only a doctor, but a brain surgeon. Make a long story short, 9 years later, I was making rounds with him at Mount Sinai Hospital and being in the back of the operating theater, watching him operate. The story's complicated. After that, he morphed into a Marcus Welby type of doctor, then back into the operating room. And tragically, he contracted Hep C in the operating room, which is an occupational hazard for surgeons. And he passed away, liver cancer in 2006, at the age of 69. But I wanted to tell this story because the name of his boat was Areté, that concept I talked about before. And I thought, this man and my mom, my amazing mom, who
Amazing mother.
was steadfast, and it wouldn't have happened without my mom. Just need to tell the story, try to help other people.
Now, I understand that, and we're filming this in the new Union studio at the Union Theater.
It's fabulous, by the way.
We're gonna have a viewing here.
We're gonna have a screening here. If you're ready, September 26th. I don't know.
Okay, we'll be ready.
You'll be
yeah.
beautiful. That's
So
beautiful.
September 26th, we're looking at.
September 26th here at the Union Library in your new beautiful theater. I was as excited as a kid when I saw it, and we'll have our screening night, and we'll figure out the refreshments end of it.
Steve, you opened this discussion, and we've been a little bit long. That's okay. You opened this discussion with growing up here in Union and a sense of community. I won't take away the movie, and I obviously can't wait to see it again. But one of my favorite scenes in the movie is the pizzeria scene in the Week Wake section in Newark, right?
Actually, it was Hillside.
Is that Hillside?
And
That
it's
was
still
Hillside.
there,
I
but
apologize.
it's called something else.
That's right. Hillside. It's your movie, and the idea that folks, had to put money in the jar to help Dad achieve his dream. I think it's just one of those.
Thank you for saying that,
Yeah.
because if you heard me before when I talked about the greater good,
Right.
that is an example, and I think we need to get back to it. They were his friends. That was that generation, and it started with the greatest generation, the parents wanting something better for their kids, and education was the key. But yeah, all of his friends put a collection together to help him get through medical school, and it's an amazing part of the story.
It's a great movie. September 26th, right here. Take a look out, and we'll have more information for you on social media as well. But we have spent some time here. We've had a cup of Joe with the great Steve Edwards. And Steve, I'm going to close with this comment. Your dad affected people not only from the inspiration of his story, but he saved lives. And the movie shows that, and it's really a wonderful piece of it. For a family rooted right here on Colonial Arms Road, and we know Mom's close by Colonial Arms these days, not too far away. And your work, not only in the Hall of Fame, changing lives and being inspiring, your internal discipline in terms of being able to be an Olympic athlete, literally go to other countries and place and win golds, show folks what discipline and hard work can do. But on behalf of those that work in government and the incredible behind-the-scenes work we chatted about, the folks that'll never know how you affected this community with quick response on insurance, with the opportunity for more health care. It's been a remarkable, remarkable journey. And I just wanted to say thanks for it all.
You're a generous soul. You really are. And thank you for that. I appreciate that immensely.
We look forward to seeing everybody on September 26th with more information to follow. But it has been my honor to have a cup of Joe with Steve Edwards today. Steve, thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
That's a wrap on this episode of A Cup of Joe, hosted by Senator Joseph Cryan. Thanks for watching, and until next time, stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you again for another cup.